This week I want to talk about something that is coming into mainstream, especially in the hyper public cloud market. But I'm going to do it a little bit differently. So I'm going to describe a scenario and then match that through to what I want to talk about this week. So imagine that there's this big giant computer and you can take your program in and you can run it on that big giant computer, and all you do is you pay for the time that that computer runs to be able to run your program. Now, the only requirements is that the owners of the program and the operating system of the program only support a limited amount of programming. In this particular case, they only support one. Now, if what you think I'm talking about is serverless, what I'm actually talking about is a mainframe that's card programmed, so it's only programmed by punch cards. But that is the topic this week, is serverless. Next week, I'm going to walk through a little story in a little bit different manner, and the serverless plays a very big key part of that story or journey. But serverless is, although it's now becoming very popular and very public, it's been around a long time. We're actually coming back around to this idea that we can run standardized programs in standardized languages on larger computers and only pay for the amount of time that they use them. The difference is the hyperscale models and the way that the cloud providers have enabled their computers to run these codes allow for multiple different programming languages. They'll support several different both programming and scripting languages to run it. But it is fundamentally a game changer. It can allow companies, especially smaller and medium-sized companies, to focus on what they want to focus on, which is getting the outcomes out, and they don't have to worry about the compute that's running and the upgrading the compute, maintaining the computer and the hardware that sits underneath it. And all they have to do is they worry about their script or their computer code in Java, JSON, or one of the other formats that are supported on the various vendors, and the data that comes out of the other end. And the modern systems in the hyperscaling cloud market support lots of different inputs to cause these compute codes to kick off. Could be accessing a web interface, or uploading a file, or talking to Alexa. Could kick off back-end scripts running on a large computer. For standard functions, for Java functions, for those types of scripting functions that are common, looking at serverless and running it in a serverless environment as opposed to standing up your own Tomcat server or WebSphere server, or Apache running some other kind of web server on the top, and then running your own code in that is not as cost effective. Now, you can do, if you need customization underneath the covers, if you need something farther down, if the application is embedded with Tomcat or some other kind of web server, then yes, it still makes sense. But for those times that it doesn't, when you're just running, you're taking data in and doing something with it and putting it out, serverless makes a lot of sense, and the cost benefits can be fundamentally game-changing. However, if you have a large enterprise environment, converting the applications that you currently run as server-based applications to serverless, it's not an easy undertaking. It is a disruptive transformation to get from an on-premise enterprise to ultimately a serverless environment. But for a lot of organizations, it's worthwhile starting down that route. Even if you don't successfully get to 100% serverless, or even 90 or 75% serverless. Every step along that path both standardizes what you're doing within your enterprise, cleans up your enterprise, puts you in a better service management aspect to be able to support your existing enterprise, and reduces your costs as you go on to serverless. So serverless is a much wider topic, and there are lots of languages to do with serverless underneath the covers. And of course, each one of the hyperscale providers support serverless in a slightly different manner, in a slightly different way. As always, give me feedback, let me know what you think, And if you have any questions about serverless or anything to do with cloud, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you very much.